what I'm talking about here. Freedom for everybody. So don't get hung up on this term equality. Okay, I don't give a crap who's got more than I just. If I've got enough, if I'm satisfied, I'm fine. Maybe I don't like a lot. Maybe I don't want a lot. I mean, you got to take care of your crap. So who wants more than you can use? Likely it'll be like the library. I mean, a very useful entity. We share stuff. The same book could be read by thousands of people. Same movie watched by thousands of people, and on in that theme. There's nothing wrong with having sailboats, but I mean, we don't want to all go sailing at the same time. So we got enough, a sufficient number. Why overbuild? If we've got extra houses all over the world, so any place you Google and say, I want to go live here or there in the next place for a year, 10 years, 50, whatever you decide, live your life spontaneously. And where you want, do what you want, nobody to answer to, but go out and contribute, use your talents, share, give back. Everything's been given to you. Everybody's labor is yours. You can take what you want. Everything's there. We have big, giant Costco-like stores, and everybody just takes what they want. No money involved. Do you understand? Same with cars. Okay, we can do whatever. We don't have to have dealerships with cars just sitting there. We're building too much stuff already. We've got an overabundance. You understand? If the reality was realized, actualized, okay, then that's the situation. We'd have extra housing all over the world, even right now, likely, even in these Latin American countries. I don't think homelessness is a problem. Desperate poverty is still. But, like I say, about this immigration issue, what we need to do, we need to consign our military. This is a very valuable, useful project for them, is go down. If you've got gangs running wild down there and the police are ineffectual or cowardly, then we at least need to talk to the government, whatever government there is, and see if they're willing that, we teach them how to police. Come down there with our SWAT squads or whatever, some military men and women, and teach these guys, how to defend yourself against these gangs and confine them, put them behind bars if you need to, whatever you need to do, but you can't be intimidated and terrorized by these people to the point of leaving your homeland. Okay, that's not okay. So that's what needs to happen. That's my advice. But in the meantime, anybody that comes here, yes, I would gravitate to my Bible. Our attitude toward these foreigners and the strangers coming in should be biblical, and we should love them. We should be compassionate. And yes, I believe we should keep the families together if it's possible, if it's not going to jeopardize the welfare of the children, if you put them in the general population. Okay, because we all know there's problems with that. So, this whole separation thing, and I don't like the looks of the cages, but they serve the function for interning these people. That's what they're doing, essentially. They're being interned to decide are they going to get deported or are they going to get to stay? So, yes, I'm for everybody, folks, okay? No equivocation. It's who I am. I cannot be any other way. This is why I say I'm an egalitarian, because I just want everybody free. I know that my own freedom is entwined in that being realized, okay? When you are free, I can be free. I like to say that, when it comes to being happy, I'll be happy when the last guy on earth is finally happy. I want to be the last guy in that line, because I know that that's what it'll take for me to be happy. Now, if we all had that same attitude, then maybe, we could really, move this thing along, move the ball down the field, so to speak. But we've got to get it. We've got to be empowered. We've got to get into the minds of these evil people. We've got to expose them, and we've got to have nothing to do with them, and we've got to wean ourselves off the junk, man. And that junk is the money. And the way to do that is through sound economic policies. But people out there, I just heard Max and Stacy. They said there hasn't been any inflation, that money printing, quantitative easing causes deflation. What? I had to leave a comment. What in the heck are you guys talking about here? If you put it on a graph, we've been having steady cost of living inflation since, at least that I know of, since they murdered JFK. The debasement of the currency, the coin clipping. Look up the term coin clipping. It's currency debasement, deworthment, to understand better what they're saying there. So it's coin clipping. So your coin is worth less and less and less, just because somebody tells you that's just the way it has to be. It's called inflation. And then if it ever stopped, they say, "Oh, we got stagflation. This is a calamity, right? So we've got to do quantitative easing in order to stimulate the economy." Right? That's what they'll tell you. So the last thing they want you to believe is that actually cost of living deflation is good, but it is. So I want to explain that to everybody. It's a tax. If it's stuff you can't get away from, you absolutely have to buy, and it affects the things that that we all pay for every day, services and commodities we have to buy. It causes a chain reaction. So all you need is one source, okay, and then it causes this chain reaction, cause and effect. One thing leads to another in society. It's a no-brainer. It's so simple to understand. Rudimentary, basic economic principles: capitalism, free market supply and demand. Okay, free market means competition. What happened in 2008 with the bailout was the opposite of free market. No capitalism there at all. So just understand these basic truths about what's supposed to happen, how you define progress, in other words, in a, quote, civilized society. Your dollar goes up in worth. See, this creates greater social, political, and economic cohesion among the people. It doesn't mean that we can't have all kinds of inequality out there. I'm not saying that we're going to have financial equality, but if everybody is rich, do you understand how by default there is equality? There is freedom for everybody. That there's no good reason why we're born having to defer to somebody else that's born into this hereditary wealth. What it might be somebody, half your age that you've got to be deferent to, or less, that's just born with a silver spoon in their mouth. So they're bossing you around. They decide the policies you have to live under, which they exempt themselves from. All these laws are ridiculous. They just passed a law where, oh, well, for 10 years you can't even bring up the issue of a soda tax in California anymore. Even though it's provable that this high fructose corn syrup is toxic. Everybody knows now, so there's nothing wrong. I mean, who can't down a liter or two of ginger ale on a hot summer day? On ice, with meals? I mean, you know what you're going to do to your health if you do that? Are there warning labels on there's not even warning labels. But they think it's like it's a mortal sin, right, to tax soda pop now in California. This is the madness run wild. I mean, and I'm opposed to any taxes, but they're going to tax the crap out of smoking cigarettes, and knowing that plenty of smokers outlive non-smokers. That's just a matter of fact. But they're going to villainize and demonize smokers as being these big fat dumbasses that deserve to be taxed to the hilt. I mean, just willy-nilly, arbitrarily, they raise the price of a pack of cigarettes by $2. I mean, that's brutal. And that's a tax on the poor. If it's a tax the poor have to pay, and believe me, plenty of poor people smoke too, then it's a tax on the poor. Do you understand? This is fine. So Governor Moonbeam has been a real a-hole. His policies have been anti-poor. Okay, we've had poverty grow in this state. We've had the wealth disparity grow. These people are getting paid. Well, he's getting paid like over $200,000 a year. These people are totally out of touch with reality. And who's paying these people? I am. They say, what they're telling people is California's in the black. Oh yeah, things are looking good. We got this rainy day fund set up. They failed to mention that the country is in terrible debt to the tune of what, tens of billions of dollars or something. We're not going to talk about that. Does the mainstream media talk about? No, let's just focus on the lie that we're in the black. Who do you think's going to pay that? The rich don't want to pay it. You understand? So the socialism works for the rich. It's socialism for the rich in America, for those that are stealing through this wealth disparity that keeps growing, through the wealth imbalance that just keeps growing, through the poverty that just keeps growing. Who's paying the national debt? Who's paying the state debt? It's always falling on the poor. Always. They're always clipping their coins. Who does coin clipping hurt the most? If you can give yourself a cost of living adjustment like so many of these politicians, or they automatically get it, they talk about not needing unions, but they're all in on some scam. How do these people, they set their own pay. They say my service to the community and to society is so important. Yes, of course, the lawmakers and all this crap sitting in the legislature, they deserve to make these gobs of money. That's fine. But we're going to we're going to raise the registration fees on the poor people in these old cars, and we're going to raise the gasoline the poor people have to pay for, and their cigarette tax. But we're not touching the soda pop, because a lot of rich people like soda pop, right? So they can't see that. They would actually have to pay more instead of finding an attorney to find them loopholes to get out of paying their fair share of taxes anyhow. So we got the worst form of capitalism in America, crony capitalism, which causes the opposite effect of true capitalism. And we got the worst form of socialism, which is just catering to the whims of the thieves in charge. The commanders and thieves, whatever, thieves and chiefs of thieves. But, all right, I'm going to get on to current events. The ones I've talked about, I probably won't go into too much anymore. If I come across them. Sorry, folks, I'm in a lot of pain. It's just a dull pain, but it's a little bit intense. It's affecting my brain, to be sure. Yeah, they are trying to conflate the internment camps where they were taking the Japanese, which, they sure should have used a more tactful method, but putting them in these camps during the Second World War, just in case there was any Japanese emperor uh, loyalists or those with affection to the Japanese, because they were attacking us. They were working with Hitler. But now the mainstream media is conflating Trump. They're comparing what's going on at the border, even though this stuff's been going on for decades. The same stuff. I mean, this is protocol. Just they separate the kids. Of course, it's a no-brainer. Duh, the kids aren't going in with the general population. And here you hear 9 out of 10 of these children do not have any parent. Okay, 9 out of 10. So how do you separate kids that don't have parents? The parents have been killed on the way up, or they were killed down there and brought up by coyotes, these cartels that are making money. So the same people causing the terrorism down there, driving people out, are charging them their life savings to come up here, and then some of them are losing their lives on the way up, and the kids arrive here without parents. We're in a lot of trouble, folks. Better know it. And they're stealing Trump's thunder by focus on this. Don't pay any attention to this great success with North Korea, at least as to date, but focus on the immigration only. I saw a little piece on CBS. I think it was Sunday morning, maybe, on this Isle of Egg in Scotland. It was pretty cool. These people seem to have very little use for money. If you wanted to immigrate there, migrate there, emigrate to a place like the Isle of Egg, spelled EIGG, you'd have to be quite an evolved soul, I think, because these people, like I said, don't have a lot of use for money, apparently. We got the old man from the Pawn Star show dying at 77, damn young. Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow, man. I like that show, and the old man was one of the best stars in there, so sorry to see that show go. Not that I like pawns. I've never sold anything or bought anything from a pawn shop, but yeah, it's an educational show. You learn a lot about history. It's interesting, kind of fun, kind of stupid. I saw a little YouTube video. I didn't watch it, but it was Rich Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, giving advice, warning people about some kind of a market correction or crash that's to come. When guys with his influence and prominence come out there and start teaching, it's like from out of the mouth of the beast. Because these establishmentarians that have benefited greatly from the crony capitalist policies, as taxpayers spending $50 billion every year so that people can, they're not homeless, so that they can afford to pay their rent. They've benefited greatly from this, and it's really caused rents to soar. This subsidy has had the opposite effect on housing costs. They've taken great advantage of it. Really, really worked it, and that is a form of market manipulation. So I just wanted to put that out there. I hate my life in this world. I can't stand the evil that is so rife in our society, and it all has to do with greed and avarice and money. People love money more than they love people, and that's everywhere. That's just yeah, duh, of course. Of course, duh. If I had to keep my fortune and half the world had to die so that I could keep my fortune, how many rich people out there would choose that half the world's population die? Okay, then they end up poor, a pauper,